Python, machine learning, and how to create scatter plot. Scatter plot. A scatter plot is a diagram where each value in the data set is represented by a dot. So the MatPlotLib module has a method for drawing scatter plots. It needs two arrays of the same length and one of the values of the x-axis and one of the values of the y-axis. So in this example, we have x, we have the following values, and y, we have the following values. So inside an array or a list. So the x array represents the age of each car. So this is the age of each car. And the y array represents, for example, the speed of each car. So for example, we can use a scatter plot, so you can ignore the first three lines. Use the scatter method to draw a scatter plot diagram. So we just import MatPlotLib by as PLT, and then x is equal to this value, y is equal to this value, PLT that scatter x, y, and then PLT that show. This will now show the diagram. So if this is scatter plot, so the x-axis represents the ages. So these are the ages of the car, and the y represents the speed. So based from this, the newer the car, the higher the speed. So we can read that the diagram in the two fastest cars were both 2 years old, and the slowest car was 12 years old. It seems that the newer the faster it drives, but that could be a coincidence. After all, we only registered 13 cars. So, but this is an example of a scatter plot. We can try that one using Python. So let's say, for example, so we import MatPlotLib dot pyplot as PLT. So that's the library we have to import in creating scatter plots. Then x is equal to, then we have here the values. So let's say 5, 7, 8, 7, 2, 17, 2, 9, 4, 11, 12, 9, 6. So these are the values for x. And then y equals 99, 86, 87, 88, 111, 86, 103, 87, 94, 78, 77, 85, 86. So I have now my values for x and y. So to plot, very simple, just just type plt dot scatter and then the x and the y values, then plt dot show, and that's it. We have now our Python program. So if you save this one, so I save this using scattertest.py, and if I open this Python scattertest.py, press enter key, then there's now my output. Okay, so we have here the speed and we have here the age of the cars. So that's how simple it is, how simple it is to create scatter plot, as long as we have the values for x and y. Again, the number of values should be equal. Now let's try to plot random data distribution. So in machine learning, the data sets can contain thousands or even millions of values. You might not have real-world data when you are testing an algorithm. You might have to use randomly generated values. As we have learned in the previous chapter, the Numpy module can help us with that. So the Numpy module can help us create random numbers. So let us create two arrays that are both filled with 1000 random numbers from a normal distribution. So we'll go to use normal distribution. So the first array will have the mean set to 5.0 with a standard deviation of 1.0. So most of the values will be around this value, around 5. The second array will have a mean of set to 10 with a standard deviation of 2, so 10. So most values are here. So from 12 to 8 because the standard deviation is 2. Here it's more from 4 to 6 because the standard deviation is 1. So to plot that, we use this code. Again, we can ignore the first tree. This is just used by W3 School so that it will be displayed on a web-based environment. So we just import Numpy to generate the random numbers, import MatPlotLib, that's the plot, the scatter plot, by so pyplot as PLT. Then we generate random normal numbers. This is the mean, this is the standard deviation, and this is the number of values. And the same is true with Y. So 10 is the mean, 2.0 is the deviation, and then 1000 is the number of values. So we scatter XY, PLT.show. So we can see that the dots are concentrated around the value 5 because it's a mean, and 10 on the y-axis, that's also the mean. We can also see that the spread is wider on the x-axis, so here, than on the x-axis because of the standard deviation. So if we try that also, so instead of this, we change that one, we import Numpy because we can use that to generate random numbers. So we have x is equal to numpy dot random dot normal. So that's normal distribution. 5.0, 1.0, 1000. If you want, you can use 2000. So that means there are 2000 random numbers. Y is equal to numpy dot random dot normal. So again, 10, that's the mean or the average. And then 2.0 is a standard deviation, and then that's a number of items. So we save. And then we run the program. So I use the same file name. So we just repeat the command. There. So that's our plot. So that means that it is concentrated here. Okay, so that ends how to create scatter plot. That ends our diagram, our lecture for today. So thank you very much for viewing this video.